Psyche will never, never, never give us an experience we can't handle. Psyche is always rebuilding our foundation. So when the moment comes and we get traumatized, okay, what is it that gets traumatized? It's not even the experience doesn't make the trauma. It's that we can't release it. Where does it get caught in the body? Where does it get caught in our soul? Okay. And so when we begin to realize that, or we get betrayed, you know, betrayal is always a spiritual upgrade. It's like, and we can only get betrayed by somebody that we care about or that we love.
A spiritual upgrade. Tell us what.
Because you're going to have a greater understanding of humanity. We're here to understand one another's humanity. We're busy trying to figure out the divine, which we don't have a right to really know firsthand. We tell stories, we have mythology. Did I tell you about the myth of this? And then something starts cooking inside of us. And then that night we have a dream. And then the next, this is where we are in the myth. The myth is still happening. We just don't see it as that. Okay. So when let's back to the gossip, and that vicious gossip is happening. There's no authenticity. There's no authority. It's somebody else's thought.
Right, but you were also saying though how betrayal is a spiritual upgrade. Can you just?
Because the betrayal is psyche arranges for this betrayal to happen because you got to grow, and you may be attached to this person who really used to like you but doesn't like you anymore, so they're working against you. And then suddenly they do something and it dawns on you like, oh, okay, they were doing that all along.
Well, that's it makes you aware of something you weren't seeing.
The thing is, you have grown. You didn't realize it because we grow in the invisible. We grow in the dark. We don't grow in the sunlight. It's too harsh. We grow in the mystery. We go down and we grow. And then an event happens that's been happening all along. And suddenly it's like, wow. So this betrayal occurs. And after we get out of the hospital because we're so upset, or wherever we go for the grief, for the mourning, and that's another thing, the grief opens us up to the wisdom of the heart.
Nice.
Wisdom always has to do with in alchemy with salt. Something needs to be salted, and so salt brings out the flavor and invisible tastes in food. Okay, but salt also draws out the wisdom. When somebody is wise, they usually have a bit of a salty, a little bit of a salty personality. They could be a little caustic, but it's within the beauty and the realm of it all. And if you're too sensitive because you want to protect yourself so much, you find them very offensive. It's like, why did they say that? I mean, can't they see I'm spiritual? It's like, yeah, they see exactly what you are, but they're not buying it. So it's the bitter experience, or it's the salted experience that, not while it's happening.
Yeah.
But if you write it in your special book of laws, I think it's good to get your own common sense laws. What works for you, what doesn't. Write that down. This keeps on happening. So I have to remember this. So remembering, wow, I must have value. If destiny is still testing me, putting me through this, it wants me to grow.
I'm still here to learn.
Not according to what I think growth is, or it's protecting. It's saying, no, you got to get out of this because this is gonna just undo you.
The wake up call.
Yeah, the wake up call, or the outgrowing. When you naturally outgrow. Now, some people don't want that outgrowing. Like they cling. Oh, we were best friends in kindergarten. It's like, well, all right, but can we grow apart so that we could come together in another way? But they just want it that way.
Well, I feel like there's such a strong fear of the unknown. Like so many people are like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
Right.
That's not necessarily true. They're afraid of the unknown. They're clinging on to the thing that's past its time, or they're compromising where they don't have to.
Or they're too devoted to being good. Bullshit. I just want to be good. I just want to be spiritual. It's like, no.
The morality.
Human, understand the opposites, because that is the big growth. We need to always put the opposites together until they can kind of, and then we have what's called the transcendent function, the aha moment. It's like, oh, wow. And then we have a truth, we have a wisdom, an eternal one. Not just for the day, not the truth du jour, the truth for eternity. And suddenly, when we are exposed to that kind of, when I say holy, the reverence that there is something operating in this throughout every level that is divine, and we can't put it in words. Or somebody will say, well, what exactly happened? Oh, I get that. Well, what exactly do you do? It's like, well, I don't even know what it is exactly, but well, what exactly do you understand? Because then I could tell you exactly on that level, or not. Okay. So this constant high adventure, it is all unknown. We read a book, we watch a movie, and suddenly we learn something. Well, guess what? You didn't know that when you opened that book or looked at that movie. Now you do. And then hopefully, if it's really interesting, other friends, you can have a very interesting conversation. Not about the same old, but do you think that could really happen? Or is this a possibility? Suddenly, it's possible. Something that was no longer possible. And the biggest remembrance is unity, is that what we call love. E.T., phone home.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when they're not home. It's like it also always happens in dreams. Like our location. Where are we located in the dream? Well, I was in my mother's house, or I was in another country, or okay, so that's telling you about the ancestors, and whether that experience was good or not so good. It locates you to tell you the story that is about to tell you.
It's the context.
Right. Dreams always tell us what we don't know about ourselves. Never what we do know. And very often, what people don't know about themselves is
the thing that gets
their magnificence, their absolute beauty,